In the quiet outskirts of a small town, there was an old Victorian house perched on a hill. Once an extravagant show of stature and prosperity, it was now a charming old Victorian that had weathered the test of time. Though it stood tall and imposing with its ornate facade, it was now just a sprawling, humble abode of faded elegance. Beauty aside, this house had a chilling reputation. For decades, there had been rumours that the Victorian house on the hill was haunted. For this reason, the house stood empty for quite a while until a young family fell for its faded beauty and below-market price tag. Now, the house belonged to the Mason family, who had moved in a few months ago. Robert and Laurie Mason, along with their two young children, Abby and Maggie, were captivated by the history and charm of the house. They had heard the rumours, of course, but dismissed the notion of ghosts and hauntings as mere superstition. However, not long after they moved in, strange occurrences began to unfold in the house that would test their skepticism. Cabinet doors and bedroom doors would quietly open and close by themselves, and faint knocking sounds echoed throughout the house. Such incidents were odd and curious, of course, but not dangerous or alarming. Yet there was always an unshakable, eerie presence that lingered in the atmosphere. Laurie noticed it all and kept mental notes, but didn't let her imagination get the best of her. In fact, the family took it all in stride in the beginning. Even the children were initially fascinated by the quirky happenings. But the intensity of the trickery escalated over time, and the children's fascination soon turned to fright. Their toys would mysteriously move, as if guided by unseen hands, and whispered voices would wake them up in the middle of the night. As time went on, the incidents became so scary for the children that began to sleep in their parents' room. At this point, Laurie and Robert conceded that their charming Victorian home was, indeed, haunted. There was no denying it. The novelty of living in a haunted house had run its course, and the unnerving disturbances were becoming the norm, and more intense and frightening. The Masons realized this situation wasn't to be taken lightly, and something had to be done to stop the evil that lived among them. One evening, after the children had been put to bed, Laurie and Robert were sitting in the living room. He was on the laptop working on a presentation for work. She was reading a book. It was eerily quiet, when the silence was abruptly disturbed by the sound of a picture frame slamming onto the floor, the glass shattering into pieces. Startled, they both jumped in fright. They looked at the shattered frame and then looked at each other in disbelief, because there was no way it could have fallen on its own from the middle of the mantel. "What in the—" Robert asked, just as Laurie said, "We've got to do something." "I think," she suggested cautiously, "we should investigate the history of this house. Maybe it will shed some light on what's happening." Robert replied, "You're right. This situation is getting dangerous. We need to get to the bottom of this." They set out to uncover the secrets of their haunted home. With the help of the local historical society, they delved into records and found that the house had, indeed, witnessed a tragic past. It had once belonged to a doctor, Walter Stone, who had mysteriously disappeared. Unfortunately, they reached a dead end with Mr. Stone's story, as public records did not explain or theorize why he may have vanished, just that he had. Laurie suggested they look for more clues in the house. Maybe there was something that would tell them more. They searched high and low. Their investigation led them to the dark, musty attic, where they made an interesting discovery. Robert stumbled upon a hidden compartment in the wall near the baseboard behind an old rocking chair. Inside this makeshift alcove, he found an old, weathered diary. Inscribed on the cover was the word, "Believe." After reading a few pages, it was apparent that the doctor was also an amateur occultist. The diary chronicled his deep despair and his obsession with the paranormal. It told of his experiments with the occult and his many attempts to summon spirits from the ethereal realm. The last entry was dated the same day of his disappearance. He was documenting one of those experiments, but something had gone wrong because the entry was never finished and Walter Stone subsequently vanished without a trace. Although they were disturbed by the writings in the diary, Robert and Laurie were also intrigued by the newly unearthed history of their home. Surely this story had something to do with the hauntings they had been experiencing. They were committed to proving the connection and ending it once and for all. Determined to put their haunted home to rest, the pair sought the help of a team of paranormal experts. For days, the team conducted experiments throughout the house, but the attic seemed to have the most activity. This didn't come as a surprise, since this is where the Masons found Walter's diary. But also, the energy in the attic was much different from the rest of the house. An ominous, dreadful aura filled the dark, cold space, making it the perfect breeding ground for sinister spirits and their evil antics. A thorough search of the attic uncovered a second hidden compartment. Unlike the first compartment that was hidden in the wall, this compartment was under a squeaky floorboard in a far corner of the room. When they removed the board, they made a curious discovery. There were 4 small wooden boxes placed neatly in a row. These boxes looked like handcrafted mini jewellery boxes. Ornately decorated with hand-carved rosebuds, they were just large enough for a few trinkets. Each box had a name inscribed on the top: Emily, Margaret, Mary, and Abigail. The team opened the boxes with care. Each one had a clipping of hair secured with a lovely piece of pink lace tied in a bow. At the bottom of each box was a piece of paper with a note scribbled in ink: "Sorry, my sweet, until we meet again." Each note was signed Mother. The team looked at each other in disbelief, and then, in unison, the queries began. What does this mean? Who are these girls and what happened to them? Who is Mother? Where are they buried? In the house, on the property? And with that last question, the attic door slammed shut with a sonic boom. The window rattled and the rocking chair began to sway gently. The talking ceased. Nobody moved. Apparently, Walter Stone had spoken. With that information, the team proceeded to explain their mysterious findings to the family. Soon after, an official search of the property began. Grim discoveries were made. Needless to say, the haunted Victorian house on the hill was haunted no more. For more stories of the paranormal, check out this collection of haunted stories for your listening pleasure. Thank you for listening. If you liked this video, please like and share. And to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when a new video has been posted. Until we meet again at the next story time, be unafraid, be well, and be bold. For darkness may bring haunted stories untold.